So I absolutely love the Legion of Superheroes. You do always know that with DC animated original movies, you are going to get a high quality production. And even though recently they have had a couple of misses, I am really glad to say that Legion of Superheroes really does show that DC know what they are doing with the animated space. What is up everybody, welcome back to my channel Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video we are going to be breaking down Legion of Superheroes, which is absolutely excellent and is the latest DC animated original movie that is actually part of the Tomorrowverse. I mean, the Tomorrowverse, it has been a couple of hits and a couple of misses, but recently it has been really good and really consistent, and I am really glad to say that Legion of Superheroes is such a great addition to the Tomorrowverse. This time it focuses fully on the Supergirl character, and we go with her as she transports into the future and meets the Legion of Superheroes, and there are some Justice League things happening in the background as well, and it just works so well, and I cannot wait to break it down with you in this video review. So this film first starts off with a bit of an origin storyline for the Supergirl character, explaining how she leaves Krypton and comes onto Earth and also trains her up to be a superhero with the Legion of Superheroes set in the future. And there of course is something really dark and sinister taking place in the background. And you really are with Supergirl as she is front and center of all of the different time period based storylines as she is trying to save the universe, which does feel a little bit cliche, but you know, it wouldn't be a superhero production if it wasn't a little bit cliche. Now from a positive point of view, I really love how they really do focus on a brand new suite of characters that you're not really that familiar with. I mean, it does have the more familiar based characters, for example, Superman, Batman, and the Flash, making a couple of cameo appearances, but more or less it is based on some brand new characters. I mean, if you have watched Legion of Superheroes, the animated series from years ago, then a couple of them will be a little bit familiar to you, but for the most part it is really cool to see these brand new group of characters. And also it does focus on misfits and people that aren't typically having all of the glamorous powers that you see superheroes having, which I think is such an interesting bit of social commentary in a world in which superpowers would be prevalent. What would it look like if you don't actually have all of the glamorous superpowers, which X-Men and the Mutants definitely have explored in the past, as well as the Boys Diabolical animated series. So it is really cool to kind of see DC experimenting with it here. And I love how it also shows that you really shouldn't judge a book by its cover for multiple different reasons in terms of who is good, who is bad, and who is really going to help you from a superpowers based perspective. And I think it is always really intriguing to see what is the world going to look like in the future, and to see that even though, you know, you are decades in the future in this storyline, some things in terms of humanity hasn't changed at all. And because we're introduced to some awesome new characters, there are a lot of different moves and a lot of different powers taking place. However, from a negatives point of view, there is a bit of a twist that you can definitely see a mile away. And even though it isn't really their storyline, it is really cool nonetheless to see the Justice League characters. And because you do see them a little bit, you do kind of want to see them a lot more. But what I did absolutely love is that there is a little bit of a post-credit scene, so definitely stick around to the end, as there is an awesome tease of what's going to happen next with the Justice League characters, which I can't wait for, as that is going to be so cool. But you know, they definitely could have done a little bit more world building in terms of the Legion of Superheroes and everything that is taking place in the future. But nonetheless, from a storyline based perspective, this movie is absolutely awesome. So all of the characters in Legion of Superheroes are so good, and all of the voice actors play them really well. So let's go through them one by one. So first up, of course, we have Supergirl, who really is leading this film front and center. And she is just absolutely brilliant. I love her character arc and character growth and trajectory across this film, as she is just growing so much. So for example, you understand that in the beginning she is really upset, she is really childish, she doesn't really know where she fits into this brand new world that she is suddenly in. It is so different to everything that she is used to knowing, so you can really understand and see where she is coming from. As then on top of that, she has all of these superpowers, so she is just using them with a lack of responsibility and doesn't really know how to be a superhero. But as this movie progresses, she just learns that lesson so well and just becomes a bit of a graceful leader that is able to lead all of the Legion of Superhero based characters so well. And I just can't wait to see what the future is going to look like with this character, as she just works so well with Superman. And I just feel like as a double act, they are going to have a really exciting future. When that eventually takes place, it is just going to be so good. We also have Brainiac 5 in this film, and I feel like he as a character is really, really interesting as well, as everybody from the outside really hates this guy, as of course all of his ancestors are so evil and are just capable of doing such evil things. But recently in pop culture, I think it's really, really interesting in terms of looking at villains and looking at their kids. Of course, Disenchanted does this, and of course Malfoy's son in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Joker's daughter. You know, all of these evil characters, what is their offspring going to be like? And I loved here how Brainiac 5 is judged because of this, and people just write him off because of his parents. But actually, does this character have the capability of being a hero? And you know, these characters can actually take the easier path and the darker path and just do what society is expecting them to do. Or they can work really, really hard to destroy this and really go down the path that they actually want to go down. So I just feel like it's so deep and so much more layered than people really give it credit for. We've of course got Mon-El, who is a bit of a future version of Superman without all of his superpowers, and he just loves perfection. And of course, you have the other wider group of misfit characters that have some really unusual powers. For example, turning into a big bouncing ball, which was a little bit similar to Blob from the X-Men, and then somebody who is able to just remove his arm and transport this, somebody who is able to duplicate themselves. I think, you know, all of these super-based powers are really, really interesting, and I feel like they are really useful from this misfits group. We've of course got Superman. This isn't really his film, but you do get to see how full of hope this guy is and how much of a brilliant mentor he is towards Supergirl, and is able to do exactly what he knows that she needs. For example, sending her to the future with the Legion of Superheroes to help her learn and to train her up into becoming the Supergirl character that he knows she is able to be. Batman and the Flash are here as well. They don't do that much, but Batman does judge Supergirl a lot and is like, look, she can't continue the way that she is. We've of course got the future older Legion of Superhero characters, although you don't really get to see them that much, as of course it is based a lot more on Supergirl and her younger group of characters. And of course we've got the mysterious evil group of characters called the Circle, who are really, really powerful and are able to be really, really threatening. And we've of course got a mysterious figure who is the mastermind behind everything. And so from a casting character's point of view, they are just so, so good in Legion of Superheroes. So from a visuals perspective, Legion of Superheroes is absolutely excellent. It's a super modern DC animated movie, so it just looks really, really slick. Love the fact that we're in the future. We get to see a lot of future technology, a lot of new powers from a lot of different other characters. The battles that take place are really, really spectacular. We're in a bit of a brand new world as well, so you really can see a lot of differences between our Earth and this future Earth. And then speaking of Earth, we also get to see Krypton and how advanced Krypton is, especially with all of its robotic technology. So everything in this movie feels really, really far-fetched, but it is also really believable, as all of the visuals are just so sublime. So from a comparisons perspective, I really, really like Legion of Superheroes, and I think it's one of the strongest Tomorrowverse based storylines that they've released so far. So I think it's way stronger than Batman Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2. And I think it's also a lot stronger than Justice Society World War 2. And I'd put it on the same level as Green Lantern Beware My Power and Superman Man of Tomorrow. I don't think it's as good as Injustice, but that's slightly cheating, as of course that movie wasn't part of the Tomorrowverse universe of films. So overall, I really, really enjoyed Legion of Superheroes. When Kara first arrives on Earth, I feel like this movie is a little bit slow, but it really quickly picks up. And you're just really with this character, and you're really with all of the other characters as well, as they are embroiled in this crazy mystery, which is pretty dark actually, as it could mean the end of the universe. And I just love everything that takes place from a storyline perspective, from a characterization point of view, from a visual cinematography battles perspective as well. And I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Legion of Superheroes a massive 7.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of this film, and also what you think could happen next as part of the wider Tomorrowverse universe of storylines. Please let us all know all of your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.